As we dive into the upcoming season, the intrigue is palpable. Aaron Rodgers' farewell tour will kick off against none other than the Green Bay Packers. That's right, folks. The Packers are set to start their 2026 preseason at the Pittsburgh Steelers on August 13th, with kickoff slated for 6 p.m. Central. But the million-dollar question remains, will Rodgers suit up against his former team? There's been a lot of speculation around this. Last year, he didn't take the field in the preseason against the Steelers, a decision that could be flipped with the arrival of new head coach Mike McCarthy. And let's face it, you can bet Rodgers will be itching for a chance to face the Packers one last time, even if it's just for a couple of series in what is essentially an exhibition game. If Rodgers opts out of playing, it will be on Drew Allar and Will Howard to face the Packers' defense. Allar, a third-round pick in this year's draft, has already caught Rodgers' eye. "It's not in my job description, but it's a great opportunity," Rodgers remarked, emphasizing his willingness to mentor Allar. Meanwhile, Howard, who was thrilled to soak up knowledge from Rodgers last year, expressed his disbelief at the prospect of instructing someone he once idolized. "If you had told 9-year-old Will Howard watching Aaron hold up a Super Bowl trophy that I'd be telling him what a play is in a couple of years, you'd be crazy," he said. Looking back at last season, Jordan Love and the Packers put on a show against the Rodgers-led Steelers, securing a 35-25 victory in Pittsburgh. That victory was a pivotal moment in the season, providing the confidence the Packers needed. As for the upcoming preseason games, the Packers will face the Denver Broncos on August 21st and then host the Arizona Cardinals on August 28th. The game against the Broncos was a turning point last season with a heartbreaking 34-26 loss that left the Packers reeling. They were on a roll until injuries to key players like Christian Watson, Micah Parsons, and Zach Tom derailed their season. The fallout from that game was significant, as it triggered a downward spiral that saw them struggle to regain form. Contrast that with their resilient comeback against the Cardinals, where they won 27-23, powered by Lucas Havrizik's impressive 61-yard field goal and Parsons' dominance, with 3 sacks. Now, with new head coach Mike LaFleur at the helm for Arizona, it's anyone's guess how they'll perform. The Packers will even host the Cardinals for a joint practice before that game, which could be an intriguing preview of things to come. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the preseason schedule, let's remember the critical dates leading up to the regular season kickoff against the Vikings on September 13th. The Packers have kicked off 3 weeks of OTAs, with a mandatory day off falling on the Thursday of this week, before returning to practice on Friday. The second week of OTAs will see further practices on June 1st, 2, and 4, followed by a crucial 3-day minicamp from June 9th to 11th, which is the only mandatory gathering of the offseason. Looking ahead, the final week of OTAs will wrap up with practices on June 15th, 16, and 18. There's strong speculation that veteran players might be excused from the final week, allowing them to recharge before heading into training camp. The exact start date for training camp hasn't been released yet, but historical data suggests it could begin around July 25th to July 27th. With the first preseason game against the Steelers coming up on August 13th, we could be looking at Family Night on August 7th, which is always a highlight for fans. And as we look at the full preseason lineup, remember that all 3 games will be broadcast on the Packers TV network, even though there are no national broadcasts scheduled. As we gear up for roster cuts, which will need to be finalized by 5 p.m. on August 30th, the Packers will have to navigate crucial decisions, including potentially placing Parsons on the physically unable to perform list, sidelining him for at least the first few games. "Micah is doing great," LaFleur remarked before practice, but we all know that the stakes are high. This upcoming season is shaping up to be a roller coaster of emotions, as the Packers will look to rebound from last year's misfortunes and solidify their status as contenders. The challenge is steep, but the talent is undeniable. As the Packers prepare to take the field, the excitement is building, and every fan should be ready for what promises to be an unforgettable ride. Now, let's move on to the next item on our agenda. As we dive deeper into the latest developments from the Green Bay Packers, the focus shifts to the much-anticipated updates from head coach Matt LaFleur. Just outside the first OTA practice of the season, LaFleur addressed the media and provided insight into the recovery statuses of several key players, Tucker Kraft, Zach Tom, and Micah Parsons, who suffered season-ending injuries last year. It's crucial to understand how these injuries could impact the team's performance as the 2026 season looms large on the horizon. First up, let's talk about Tucker Kraft. LaFleur's tone was notably optimistic regarding Kraft's recovery. According to the coach, Kraft is ahead of schedule, raising hopes that he might be ready in time for the start of training camp. However, LaFleur tempered expectations slightly by suggesting that while Kraft could see some action during camp, a more realistic timeline may place him back on the field for the season opener. This is encouraging news for Packers fans, as Kraft's presence could significantly bolster the offense. His ability to stretch the field and contribute in critical situations will be invaluable, especially as the team looks to establish its rhythm early on. Moving on to Zach Tom, the updates were a mixed bag. While Coach LaFleur indicated that Tom is making progress from a partially torn patellar tendon, there's still uncertainty about his readiness for the start of training camp. Earlier whispers from general manager Brian Gutekunst had fans believing Tom would be back in full swing by now, but LaFleur's comments suggest that we should remain cautiously optimistic. The offensive line's performance hinges on Tom's recovery, as the team will need its best players to protect the quarterback and create running lanes. Fans will be keeping a close eye on his status as camp approaches. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, Micah Parsons. After suffering a torn ACL in mid-December, Parsons is facing a challenging recovery timeline, and he was absent from the Packers' OTA. LaFleur mentioned that Parsons is doing great, but he also confirmed that the star linebacker is likely to start training camp on the physically unable to perform PUP list. This isn't surprising given the nature of ACL injuries. Healing takes time. However, the recent changes to the PUP rules offer a glimmer of hope. Players can now return to practice as early as Week 3, which opens the door for Parsons to possibly make a return by Week 5 against the Bears, a game every Packers fan has circled on their calendars. As the offseason progresses, the concern over injuries remains palpable. With Tom, Kraft, and Parsons all navigating serious recoveries, the question of who will take the field come Week 1 is far from settled. Adding to the uncertainty is the situation surrounding Josh Jacobs, who is currently embroiled in a criminal investigation, raising further questions about player availability. Yet, despite these challenges, it's essential to focus on the positive trajectory highlighted by LaFleur. The recovery updates, while cautious, have a silver lining for Packers fans. The potential return of Kraft and the hope for Tom and Parsons could set the stage for a competitive start to the upcoming season. As we continue to follow these storylines, keep in mind that the health of these players will be pivotal for the Packers' success. And with that, we transition to our next segment, where we'll explore the latest rumors surrounding potential trades and new acquisitions that could shape the Packers' roster in the coming season. The tension surrounding the Green Bay Packers is palpable, and the recent news about Josh Jacobs adds yet another layer of complexity to the team's future. Arrested on 5 charges and subsequently released, Jacobs continues to deny any wrongdoing while the district attorney's office deliberates on formal charges. This situation casts a long shadow over his status with the team, especially with the NFL's personal conduct policy looming over him like a dark cloud. What does this mean for the Packers, and how will they respond to this potential crisis? If Jacobs is forced to sit out part of the upcoming 2026 season, the implications for the Packers could be severe. Coach Matt LaFleur weighed in on the matter, emphasizing that a lot's going to happen between now and the start of the season. This uncertainty leaves fans on edge, wondering who will step up if Jacobs is sidelined. While the rumor mill churns with speculation about potential acquisitions, a league source has indicated that the Packers may not be actively pursuing additional running back depth at this time. Jacobs has been the bell cow for this team, dominating carries for the past 2 seasons and providing a crucial offensive weapon. With primary backup Emmanuel Wilson having departed for the Seahawks, the depth chart now looks concerningly thin. Should Jacobs be unavailable, Green Bay's backfield would face significant challenges. Currently, Chris Brooks stands as the leading candidate to fill the backup role. With 449 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown over his 2 years in Green Bay, Brooks has shown flashes of potential. However, relying solely on an unproven player in a critical position raises serious questions about the team's preparedness. Then there's Marshawn Lloyd, a former third-round pick who has seen limited action in his first 2 years as a professional. He's only made 1 appearance thus far, which doesn't exactly instill confidence among fans who crave stability at the running back position. The depth chart continues with Pierre Strong, who has accumulated 692 offensive yards during his time with the Patriots and Browns, along with UDFA's Damian Martinez and Jaden Nixon, who have yet to make significant impacts at the professional level. If Jacobs is indeed facing a suspension, Green Bay must explore its options thoroughly before turning to external reinforcements. While there are whispers of potential targets floating around the league, free agent Joe Mixon, Saints veteran Alvin Kamara, and Cardinals RB James Conner have all been mentioned. One has to wonder about the viability of such moves. Would the Packers be willing to invest in a seasoned player, Or are they determined to develop their current roster? This brings us to an essential crossroads for the Packers. They possess a rich tradition of nurturing homegrown talent, but this philosophy may be tested if Jacob's situation escalates. The front office's decision-making in the coming weeks will be crucial. The loyal Packers fan base deserves answers and a clear plan moving forward. In the comments below, let us know where you're watching from and what your thoughts are on the situation surrounding Josh Jacobs. Do you believe the Packers are making the right call by not actively pursuing running back depth? Or should they be more aggressive in securing a reliable backup? Join the conversation, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest insights into all things Packers. As we wrap up this segment, it's clear that the road ahead for Green Bay is fraught with uncertainty, but as fans, we must remain steadfast and hopeful. The spirit of the Packers runs deep, and this team's resilience has been tested before. Here's to hoping they emerge stronger, no matter what challenges lie ahead. Keep the faith, Packers Nation.